Hardy Construction.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hardyconstruction, and friend us on facebook.com/the Hardy Construction with your host Tom and
Tommy Baby Tits.
Wow, you couldn't even think of something new off the top of your head,
think
right?
I think that you should be an auctioneer. Wait,
No, because I was just like Tom, and you were like Tommy you're like that. Anyway, today's a very special episode of the Hardy Construction because we have done our first
request.
Yeah, because and it's from the website. I mean, the Tumblr, harahaba.tumblr.com.
Horror Harbor.
Horror Harbor. HORRHARBOUR.tumblr.com, which is we owe many thanks to.
Does that mean she's European? Is that the European way of spelling it?
Harbor.
Am I stupid? Is Harbor spelled with a U, or am I being dumb? I think I'm being dumb.
It's probably both. But Horror Harbor
yeah.
Horror Harbor has been very, very kind to us because for some reason they enjoy our show and they do reblog us. So we want you all to check out that blog and that Tumblr because it's very good. They have a lot of cool visuals. You want to speak a little bit about our Tumblr?
Yes, there's I'm looking. Well, let me go back here. There's Dark Tower things on there. I can see that she's very excited about the new book that's coming out, and I am fucking excited. And I hope that she is straight and hot and lives in New York or LA if I move there, so that way maybe we could get like a little thing going on here. That'd be cool.
She stopped listening to this episode right now, right at that point. Anyway, yeah, so we want to thank Horror Harbor for following us and begging us to put this film on. Actually, I asked her.
Begging.
Yeah, she was clawing at the whatever the phrase is, and I went on and I asked her because a lot of people on the Hardy Construction Tumblr they secret asked us. Well, actually, it's probably just 2 or 3 or a couple on the YouTube page were like
so many. We have hordes of fans.
They were like WHOREDS, and they they kept asking, "Oh, do you do requests for films?" A lot of people ask us if we take requests, but for the most part, we don't.
Did we say what the movie is yet?
No, we're getting to it. Jeez, but God. A lot of people ask us to take requests, and we don't. I personally didn't want to because I don't. I think it's. I want to, but not at this point because. And
he looks down upon you all.
I lord over you all. Game of Thrones.
You are bugs to him.
But Danny made a good point as well. A lot of people will be like, "Can you check out?"
I'm sorry, my name's Tommy Baby Tits.
So Tommy's Baby Tits was like, "Oh, we don't. What if we have people requesting us to review their short films?" And a lot of people do ask us to.
But then nobody besides them would give a shit.
But also, I don't.
But it's true.
I don't feel it's my place to judge other people's short films if I work on short films myself. If that's weird or something.
Yeah. Plus, we're like assholes, kind of. So I wouldn't want me reviewing my short film.
Yeah. So anyway, the film that Horror Harbor asked us to review is called Black 10 Inches in Asian Street Hookers. It's a good movie. From 2005.
It's really good. Double-headed dildos and lesbians.
Actually, the film is 2011's The Innkeepers by Ty West. Tiwest.
What kind of name is that? T.I.?
I don't know. Do
you think that's his real name? Do you think his parents were just too lazy to spell out his full name?
Maybe his father's like the inventor of one of the... no, he would have to be old. The Innkeepers is about... Let's see. This is from IMDb. During the final days at the Yankee Peddler Inn, 2 employees determined to reveal the hotel's haunted past begin to experience disturbing events as old guests check in for a stay.
Wow.
It stars Sarah Paxton, who I would have bet money. I thought it was Alexis Bledel from the Gilmore Girls. Because
is that the one that was in Sin City?
Yes, I thought that was her all this time. Ever since Superhero Movie, there was a movie called Superhero Movie. The guys who
I actually thought she was Jake Lloyd the whole time.
She's like, now this is pod racing. But she looks just like. Oh God, what a terrible movie. Who was the Arabic flying Muslim roach that was trying to sell them? I don't think you.
Groucho, was that his name?
Whatever his name was. Anyway, Sarah Paxton, I swear to God, I thought was Alexis Bledel because she looks like her. She kind of looks like a cute girl, but with a touch of the Down syndrome. right? But she's cute. And there's also Pat Healy, who looks like
No, not Greedo. Sorry, keep
Greedo.
going.
Yeah, it is Greedo. But
No, Greedo's the one that's like Jabba the Hutt's guy that comes to
is it?
kid.
All right.
Or is that Weedo? I don't know. Whatever. I used to be a big Star Wars nerd. I'm kind of being bad on the names right now.
Pat Healy, who looks like the guy Morgan Spurlock, the guy from Super Size Me. He looks like that guy. Hey, look at me! I'm remembering names this week. And then there's also Kelly McGillis, who surprised me. I was like, how do I know that name? She plays a character named Leanne Reese-Jones. We'll get into it.
How do you know her name? Well, whatever.
She was the female lead in Top Gun. Remember the hot chick that Tom
I've never
Cruise?
seen Top Gun.
Me neither, but I remember like the poster of this blonde girl. And I was like, how do I know? And then you see a photo of them together now, and Tom Cruise still, sort of looks like Tom Cruise from the 80s.
Right.
And she looks a bit older for her age, you know what I mean? And it's like, Scientology must do shit for Tom Cruise because
his name is Watto.
Guado, same shit.
Watto.
The movies are awful, and what's his name? George Lucas says he's retired from making films ever since they shut down.
Good, thank God.
But that means he doesn't want any more Star Wars being made. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna make it after he
That's
died.
okay.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, have you ever heard of the Innkeepers besides me telling you of Horror Harbor's interest in this film?
No, I have not.
I first heard about the Innkeepers through like websites like twitchfilm.net and like kind of underground cinema websites, and they had a lot of cool posters for this movie. Like, I mean, it seems like they spent half of the budget just for making the posters of this film, and they're really cool. But
it's got an older vibe to it. This whole movie, if you've ever seen Super 8, it really reminds me of that feeling.
I was gonna give that comparison too, because you know how J.J. Abrams is trying to make 80s films. Like, this film feels like an old school kind of 80s vibe to it, where it's more character based than just straight, people getting killed left and right. And the director, Ty West, is he's known for his other film, House of the Devil.
Never seen it.
And House of the Devil got a big cult following to it, and the way they marketed it, it looks like an old 80s film instead of like a satanic film. Or a film about a woman trapped in the house of the devil. There you go. And anyway, that hit pretty big, and this was his follow-up, and I guess he's getting a little steam from this film, and I'm going to put up a little interview he did with Opie and Anthony on the Tumblr later, because it was pretty good. But anyway, your first, what's your idea about this film? What do you feel about this film?
It was, I don't know.
In a nutshell.
Up until the last half an hour, I would not have considered this a horror movie at all.
I agree.
And I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I actually really enjoyed it, but it felt more like I'm watching like Goonies or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I actually really liked this film in a way that it didn't feel it was just. I mean, it pandered to the notion of having jump scares. It seems like jump scares were the only reason. That's why it's considered horror.
Yeah.
But I think.
I mean, yeah, and then at the end, there's some pretty scary things that happen, but like for the most part it was more just like, oh, I'm enjoying hanging out with these two funny people in a hotel.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. It's funny because I compare this, like Innkeepers, I compare it to another, what was that movie you said was the greatest horror film of all time that beat all other horror films?
I don't know. Murder Set Pieces?
No. That's already genius. Don't worry about that. I'm talking about that other horror film that we did the DVD voiceover for with what's his name?
Oh, Insidious?
Yeah, the greatest movie of all time that you said.
Oh, come on. It's not that bad. And at the moment, I was just a little caught up. I was a little caught up in it. It's not the greatest movie looking back, but whatever.
Because it was so frightening.
Well, it scared the shut up me because I'm scared of demons in possession.
A little kid dressed up like Buster Brown was running around playing the fucking...
shut up! It scared me. I'm scared of demons.
Anyway, I was comparing the two, and I liked Innkeepers more. But the thing is, the Innkeepers didn't have the scares like 24/7, like every second. That I guess
really didn't have any scares until like the last half an hour. Not even like the last 20 minutes.
It felt like an off-kilter kind of adventure film that was set in one place.
A little depressing too.
I definitely got depressed by the end of the film.
That guy, I felt bad for him.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So Sarah Paxton plays the quirky and weird Claire, who's this kind of... I like that she wasn't beautied up. Like, they didn't stressed to give her extra makeup.
She
and all that
looks
stuff.
like Jake, how I envision Jake from Dark Tower. You don't know who he is. It's okay.
I don't care either. But she's just
Bitch, you'll be feeling bad when you watch the movies and the TV show directed by Ron Howard.
starring Javier Bardem, right? So Claire is this. It is supposed to have him in it. Anyway, Claire is this. How would you explain how Claire is in the film?
She's like
Do you think that means
like
Claire
every
Voyant?
nerdy guy's sexual fantasy.
Yeah, she's like this geeky girl interested in the paranormal. Well, that's what we're led to believe because at the beginning of the film, Claire is meeting up with her coworker Pat Healy at this place called the Yankee Peddler, which is actually a hotel. If I remember where the fuck it is, but it's an actual hotel. And I remember hearing an interview with Ty West, the director, saying he filmed. I think it's Connecticut. Okay, it's in Connecticut.
I don't know if it says. Oh yeah, it does. I'm sorry.
It is in Connecticut, right?
Yeah, it was
so-
shot in Connecticut
Right.
at least.
So the Yankee Peddler is an actual hotel over there, and he shot the House of the Devil in Connecticut as well, I believe. And they were staying at the Yankey Peddler. And while that was going on, some of the crew were experiencing weird things at the hotel. So Ty West said, no, let's make a movie about this place. So they shot the film there, and I don't think anything weird happened while it's going on. But they had an interesting experience making the film. And now he's like, I'm not gonna do any more films in Connecticut because I think I'm done with doing all these movies here. And a cool thing that they did with that film is that they had a premiere for it a couple months ago at the local cinema in Connecticut, because Connecticut is, I guess, not really a big filming town,
Yeah.
And
What the hell does Connecticut really have?
I don't know. I've heard ghost stories in Connecticut too when I was visiting.
Well, the haunting in Connecticut. Remember that?
too. Yeah, right. But I guess Connecticut was really trying to make it a little landmark thing for them.
Would you ever go to Connecticut if you had to?
I
mean, if you by volunteering.
I had family live there, so yeah, I had to be there all the time. But anyway, so they had the film, and then they had the premiere, and then they actually went to the hotel and walked around because the hotel is actually there. It's pretty cool. It's actually still working over there. But yeah, no, I had some weird shit happen in Connecticut. It's just a weird place because it's so quiet.
I bought porn in Connecticut one time.
And
I was driving through on my way to Tennessee, and there was like a really cool looking porn shop.
Is there a type of Connecticutian kind of porn or something like that?
Yeah, that's girls fucking themselves with corn on the cob.
What? Anyway,
Just,
one of the funniest things was there was this very butch lesbian that was a neighbor of my cousin's, and I thought it was a man because she looked like Roz from Night Court, like an African American woman with a short haircut. And I was playing baseball. My cousin was like, "You're acting like a little girl." And I was like, "Are you going to take that? He's calling. You're a girl. You're a man, right?" And she said, "What do you think this is?" And she started grabbing her tits, and I ran down the street. It was like a scene out of 80s comedies. Anyway, there goes my Connecticut story. And then also I went to a mall, and I bought Cracked magazine, that fake Mad magazine.
Yeah.
And they had a thing of they did how they parody movies in every issue. They had they did one on Child's Play too, but it was really gory. And at the time as a kid, I thought, holy shit, they're gonna send me to military school if they catch this in my.
You're like the most neurotic child in the world.
And
every
you're the most
story you
neurotic
have
adult.
is like you being scared of something.
I tore the pages out, threw them in the garbage, or flushed them down the toilet.
I don't know if I've told this story before. I might have, but I was convinced that girls peed out of their buttholes. Because one time I walked in and saw my mom sitting on the toilet peeing, and I just didn't know, I didn't get it, I just thought she was peeing out of her butt.
And then Danny passed out. It was like a scene out of what was that David Lynch movie, Mulholland Drive or something?
Mulholland Drive. And then recently I had sex for the first time, and I found out that girls have vaginas.
Yeah, I know, right? Isn't that's the part under their armpits, right?
So anyway, the Innkeepers. It's the part where their hip meets their butt cheek.
Hey, Horror Harbor, I'm glad you liked this episode. So Sarah's playing Claire, and Claire's hanging out with her buddy Luke, who's this weirdo. He was you think he's in his mid-30s maybe? He
is in his mid-30s. He was born in 1975 or something.
So he's kind of like this hipster doofus guy with these big horn-rimmed glasses and a weird hairdo, because he's
I feel bad for him. He's kind of pathetic.
Yeah, because he's like the geeky, guy you'd see. He probably
has a crush on a girl that's 18.
Yeah, right. And he seems like if he lived in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, he'd probably do better. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, she's not bad. But I'm saying he'd probably be better in life over there if he wore like a checkered shirt and fucking.
He fits in that crowd.
Right, and a little bowler hat.
And he's into paranormal stuff, and there's a ghost that lives in the hotel, supposedly.
I gotta say,
what the
I
hell is
love
the
that.
ghost name?
I love their first cheap scare in the film because I knew it was coming. I was like, because
On the screen.
the hotel is called like you said again, the Yankee Peddler, and it's gonna close down in a week. It's in its actual final week of running, and they have like about one a mother and a child staying up there in one of the flights. Who's like a total bitch, and then they're basically just they want to check out if there's EVPs they can make because Luke claims that he saw. What was the name of the ghost? Madeline O'Malley.
Madeline O'Malley. Yeah, it was definitely Irish.
So
Madeline O'Malley. You're right.
So he claims that he saw it, but he can't. He's like, I saw it, but you think you remember physical traits of a ghost, but I didn't, etc., etc. So what he does is he messes around EVPs. He has a website based around the building too, right? Or is it just like general places? I don't know.
I think he's just interested in any ghost stories.
So I don't know. I don't know whether he was uploading the videos himself or whatever. But there's footage of like doors closing and.
He's got one of those fucking things that measures like the activity of the ghost.
It looked like a 1995 website. It really did. It looked like.
It kind of looked like a dildo. That thing he was holding. It had like a little bar on it.
Oh
that,
yeah,
like,
that's
back and forth. It was like Egon's.
You talking about the microphone that he uses?
No, but then there was like a thing that picks up paranormal activity.
Oh, registered.
Yeah.
The TV show, it just picks it up. Or the movie, I fucked that up so bad. So anyway, Sarah has a little experience when trying to record audio that night. But
the piano.
Little piano playing, and then
Madeline is really talented at the piano.
An Irish girl who likes to play some piano. Do you remember?
She plays the piano very well.
What was the story with Madeline O'Malley that she got killed by two guys?
She hung herself, and then her body was hidden in a basement or something weird.
Right, these two guys tried to, for whatever reason, they just dumped her body and dug a hole in the basement.
No. The hotel wanted to keep it a secret.
Oh, that's right. Shows how much I was paying attention. I still like the movie. So anyway, the whole film is dealing with these two characters, and it's more of like character study in a way, right?
It's cool. It's like they're cool people.
I almost feel like the last half hour of the film, I wish it didn't happen.
Yeah, because it really was. If anyone here has seen Super 8, it's exactly that vibe of like silly, kind of scary adventure, but like in a hotel with a guy that's like 35 that wants to molest a 16-year-old girl.
Danny's regular life, and
yeah, exactly.
But the characters are actually so likable.
The 16-year-old girl.
The characters.
Marry. Oh, did you hear about this? Like,
yeah,
there's a guy, one of the actors from Lost is like marrying a 16-year-old. I don't usually care about that kind of stuff, but that's pretty cool for him.
Yeah, that guy. She looks like she's 40 anyway, and she has
what? I don't know. Like, I don't watch American Idol really, but I watched like an episode recently, and I have to say, like, the makeup artists make all these fucking kids. They're like all 16, 17. They make them look like they're in their 40s.
That's because Can you imagine
pumpkins?
Can you imagine the stress of all that shit? How it ages you so quickly. Look at
Obama.
Yeah, right. Obama. Look how white his hair has gotten. Within 2 years or whatever, how many years of presidency? 3 to 3.5 years.
Yeah, I guess it is the same thing as being the president.
So this film, I mean, I like the shit out of this movie. I really like it. I was like, damn, this would make a cool, like, if it was a 13-episode series, like, if every,
Yeah, I wanted to hang out with those people.
Like, if these because then I was thinking about how American Horror Story is a show, and everything was all about being trashy, and I still like American Horror Story. I like that show a lot, because it was like a cheap fix, and it was like, a guilty pleasure kind of show. But on the other hand, I would watch a show like this, because this was infinitely more interesting than, say, Ghost Hunters or whatever. What the hell other shows are? I like Ghost Adventures for the most part.
Ghost Hunters, from what I've never seen it, but I've seen South Park rip it, and also I've just heard from people that
because with those,
literally nothing happens. Like
those shows, like Ghost Hunters,
they'll go in a room and then the light mysteriously goes out, and they're like, "Oh no! Oh, you guys couldn't see it, but this just happened."
Yeah, that's Ghost Adventures. Ghost Adventures. They find everything. I mean, they're like one scene off of actually showing a ghost talking to people on the show, because like actually literally just holding up the camera itself. But the way they handle this, they don't go too techie like EVP and all that shit like they did with the greatest movie of all time, Infurious, or whatever the hell that was called.
Insidious.
How they were like, this gas mask will help me hear
Oh, come
a ghost on
on.
the toilet. But
You
I'm
know,
not
I was
faulting.
just at that moment. I was into that movie. Looking back
This
on it,
film-
I'd say it's not so good, but
This-
I liked it a lot, and I still think it's a good movie.
This
People
film
should.
is more heavy on the character and the interactions. Like, there's a scene of just Claire going to a coffee shop, and one of the women working there, trying to talk about her relationship with her boyfriend. And it was just quaint. It was really small and quirky. It feels like a quirky indie film, and I'm guessing it is an indie film.
Yeah, and it made me feel like I was like a kid again. You know that feeling?
Right.
Like,
It didn't feel like it was exploitative. The
and definitely not pretentious at all.
Right, not at all. Because the camera movements were great.
It's
Everything looks
cuddly.
good.
It's like a cuddly movie.
Yeah, it's and we're not trying to say this is a soft film. You shouldn't want people that are hardcore horror films aren't gonna watch it because it sounds.
I
too
mean, if you're
sweet.
into like like that French shit we watch, then you're not gonna like this movie. But
This
like,
film leans more towards Poltergeist 1. What, not the amount of scares, but the feeling of there's
cuddly.
something. Yeah, it feels like the characters have dimensions behind them. Like they feel like rounded characters, as opposed to stock dad, stock mom, stock kid, and any other kind of horror film where they just get rid of any character development. Not that there's a lot of character development in the film. There is, but it's more about how the characters are, because there's not going to be a jump of how their personalities change within, say, 2 nights or 3 nights of living in a film. You know what I mean?
although there is something that happens with Luke.
Yes, definitely. No, that's why I said there is some sort of
Find
character
out he's
development,
full
yeah.
of bullshit.
Baloney. He's full of puke. Oh!
Hey!
So there's also Kelly McGillis, who plays Leanne Reese-Jones, who is this former actress, a retired actress that stays at the hotel, and Claire has,
What a birch.
worships her. Birch. She's a birch tree. So Claire is like, really, she has a hero worship for her because she was on her favorite show and she was in her movie, and they kind of get into this little tiff. It seems not Claire. Leanne feels a little bit, over her because she's an actress, but Leanne has ulterior motives of why she's there. And I like that little reaction because this shows, how when people do hero worshipping, and then when they actually meet their heroes, it's kind of like shitty. It's a weird, realistic moment in the film, and I like how Claire says, "Oh, I feel like an asshole," that kind of thing.
She was a little creepy, actually. I kept
Leanne?
expecting something bad to happen.
Yeah, every character that comes in kind of seems weird. And there's another character who comes in midway of the film, this old man who comes to stay at the hotel. And it's funny because the way the trailer's cut, when I first saw the trailer for this, before I even saw the movie, I was like, oh. It looks like...
Just listening to that old man talk one sentence, I would be like, I'm sorry, all our rooms are full, you have to leave.
The old man's probably not the best actor in the film because you could tell he was like, yes, I stayed here. And you're like, all right.
Yeah, but he's like
Bad
scary. A little
Yeah.
creepy.
That's
I want him as my grandpa.
That reminds you of
is
your-
what I'm
your
trying to
childhood.
say.
Oh, butthole mangling grandpa.
I want him to tug me into a bed and dress up in a bikini and just like rub me down with olive oil and read me a bedtime story.
So the film is taking place over about 4 nights at this hotel, and Claire's growing paranoia that there's something more going on behind the behind the wall, so to speak, because there is definitely an incident that happens to her. What happens in that incident?
Oh, is that the piano part you're talking about right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, she's trying to find the ghost and she hears noises. So then she goes and, oh shit, there's a piano, and suddenly you see 2 keys go down by themselves. And it was scary. It was a little scary, I have to admit. I was like, whoa, there's a ghost hidden the keys. And then she ran up and she woke up Luke, who was sleeping, because they're sleeping in the place. And
then she
you
gets,
know,
then you
what?
feel bad for Luke because he walks away in his underwears, and that completely turns her off, and she doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah. What the hell was with that, actually?
She got turned off because he was in his underwears.
Yeah, but she's asking for help, not for sex.
That means he's so gross as a man that she wouldn't want help from him. Isn't that
And
fucked
he's
up?
like pouring his heart out, how he likes her and
Yeah.
stuff.
So the whole idea is that these people are running around this hotel because of that old
I don't
wives.
think he's a bad-looking guy. If I was gay, I'd go for him probably.
Oh, that reminds me. I said something really horrendous in one of the last episodes.
What'd
that
you say?
I didn't mean It sounded bad. It made me sound like a homophobe.
What did you say?
Because I realized I said a phrase in a certain way, then you repeated it, and you said, and then I said, you said that the gay way. I said that the normal way.
Oh, it's
so
okay.
If anybody picked up on that, and they have, nobody really gives a shit because
We're not homophobic.
We have a lot of
we have gay sex all the time.
I wasn't gonna say that, but we have a lot of gay listeners, and we love our gay listeners, especially.
Me and Alex have like 69 each other.
We have a lot of lesbian listeners, so power on. I think most of the time the lesbian listeners are listening to us because they.
You know what? Like
we
I'm
remind them.
Sad, I'm always
thinking,
sad when you get a lesbian because they're so cool and they could always be my girlfriend, but they're not interested. And if they were straight, they wouldn't be interested anyway.
I think a lot of lesbian females listen to our show because they realize we're all that. Why they hate men. I'm just kidding, guys.
It might be true.
It's not a choice.
My penis is so tiny.
It's literally just a clit, right? That's what it is.
It's like a little clit that like kind of comes out like a little worm poking its head out of a hole.
Horrorharbor.tumblr.com. Anyway, so I mean this Leanne Reese Jones, they make it like a point to just say her whole name for some reason. She's actually she was a healer, right?
She used to be an actress. She became a psychic healer.
She is in town for to tell a speech at a convention or something like that. And they assumed it was acting, but it's actually for her healing techniques and listening to ghosts and all that stuff. And this perks Claire up a bit because she wants to know what's going on with the hotel. And it gives a good dynamic. I like that Leanne Reese Jones starts off as kind of an asshole character, but gradually becomes the matriarchal kind of ghost hunter in the film. Although there's not a lot of ghost hunting in the film.
Yeah, not much. Most of the film is literally just these two people that work at this hotel fucking about, which is awesome. It's fun. And then it starts to, once it introduces that she's a psychic or whatever, then it starts to get more into it. And then that old man comes, and that's kind of like the turning point of the movie, because he wants to stay in this specific room, and I think that's the room that Madeline O'Malley? I don't know, whatever her name is. That's where she hung herself, I think, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then, from that point on now, it's like, you find out that Luke is actually, I'm skipping ahead. They go and they do, an actual seance kind of thing with Leanne, and they go all down into the basement, and it's... I'm totally blanking right now. I'm totally blanking.
She runs down the stairs in her panties and she frightens Luke.
That part was actually nice. That was when I was attracted to her.
Yeah, that's how I was like, whoa, hey, wait a minute. But anyway. Yeah, it all leads, it's all like shenanigans, goofy shenanigans. You don't feel there's any real threat in the film until the last half an hour of the film, which is usually how horror films build up the intensity of, why there should be a reason for us to be scared. Like, usually horror films, they usually have
This didn't really build up any intensity, though. It was more just okay, this is a funny film, and okay, now it's a horror film.
Right, it's a weird kind of cluttering of genres in the film. It feels like one part characters just hanging around, having fun. Second part is like comedy. Third part are jump scares. Fourth part is ghosts. Yeah. Although, and creepy building. But it didn't really feel like a creepy building to me at all until it was, they do the basement scenes. So, of course, Claire is going down to the basement and checking out. She wants to check it out, and some spooky shit happens. I thought that was a pretty good scene, because there's a scene where Claire and Luke go down to the basement, and they're checking out the readings on whatever that little machine is.
Is that when Luke has his freak out?
Yeah, it's when it leads to Luke's revelation and stuff like that.
Can we give away his revelation, or should we not?
This is what. Listen, everybody, watch this movie. Now we're gonna spoil the rest of it. Stop it and then watch the movie. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So you find out that Luke actually is full of shit. Like, he was just trying to impress Claire or whatever. So he never actually had any encounters.
I think he said that he might have said that to have her interested in him.
Yeah, right. He was trying to
because moments before, remember they were in the room and they got got drunk and they were insulting Leanne Reese Jones. Well, he was insulting Leanne Reese Jones like a dick. That's when I thought he was kind of becoming an antagonist in the film, but he's not really. He was just kind of
Yeah, that's the problem with the film. There is no
real
real antagonist. Kind of. I mean, I guess there is. There's a ghost that kills someone, but
That's when I
I don't
felt
know.
bad for Luke because Luke was like about to tell her, oh, that he did tell her that he liked her, but she's clearly not listening to him.
Yeah, and she looked at his butt and was turned off. So you know what? Like, fuck her then.
She's not into you.
Fuck her.
Do you feel like you're Luke in life, or
I do.
Yeah, me too.
No, I don't feel like I'm him. He's kind of a little more pathetic than I am. I'm one step less pathetic than he is.
Right on.
Yeah.
And, well, I mean, what did you think about the interactions between all the characters and how they were? Did you feel like they were all fleshed out, or what?
I mean, I think only really Claire and Luke were, and then like Leanne kind of was like this weird. Is she creepy? Is she good? Bad? I don't know.
Yeah,
but
a lot of the film wasn't really weighted on how Leanne. I want to say Leanne Rhymes and shit. Leanne Reese Jones.
We can pretend she's Leanne Rhymes. Guys, just so you know, Leanne Rhymes was in this movie.
And Leanne Rhymes like cheated on her husband with a new guy, and they got married, and that guy was still married to somebody else. That was crazy stuff.
That's kind of sexy.
How do I live? Anyway, that was a Leanne Rhymes song.
That was really well sung.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I can win my country music awards and have it taken away by Kanye. So, the film, Innkeepers. How did you feel? Do you feel that it worked as a horror film, or it was more?
Not really, but at the end, where with the old man, he kills himself or whatever the fuck happened. I guess he got killed.
That
maybe
old man killed himself in a really strange way because he was.
And then he became a ghost like instantly.
Yeah, it takes Madeline Monroe, whatever the fuck her name is, Madeline O'Malley, like 1,000 years. I mean,
Leanne Rhymes and Marilyn Monroe are in this
Marilyn
movie.
Manson,
yeah, she's around for like 50 years or whatever. This guy, he kills himself or he gets killed, and then like 10 minutes later, he's a fucking ghost scaring poor Claire down a flight of stairs.
Yeah, so at the viewer, you're also led to believe that maybe Sarah is hearing all of this, like she's not really experiencing any of this stuff because Luke says this. And
Who's Sarah?
I'm sorry, Claire. Sarah Paxton's the actress. Claire's her character. Luke is, putting this idea into the viewer's mind that maybe Claire is not really experiencing this, and maybe she's just freaking out because it's.
He's just being a jerk. Night. And then he cowers out and runs out, leaving a poor girl all by herself.
I thought that was a pretty cool scene where they're downstairs and she's trying to speak to the ghost of Madeline O'Malley, and the camera does not go on the ghost's face at all. It just stays on Luke's face, and she's like, she's right behind you, and he just freaks out and runs.
I mean, I would probably freak out too, but I wouldn't leave. I wouldn't leave a girl by herself.
It's funny because he pushes her right on the floor and then runs. That was the funny part.
He pulled a total George Costanza move in that.
Somebody needed a leader. Anyway, that was my Kramer impersonation. Anyway,
very good.
But what did you think about the last half hour of the film? I thought it
was okay. It picked up. It was a little. It fell a little flat, especially the end. Like, I'm expecting. I don't know. Like, I'm thinking like, okay, this is gonna be the scene where you find out, like, because it showed Luke walking around by himself after she was dead or whatever.
For some reason, I'm
thinking he's gonna like smile now, and you're gonna find out like he's possessed.
Right, that's what I thought was gonna happen. I thought, Luke's gonna be the bad guy in the film,
or something, or like then Leanne's sitting in the room, and I'm thinking, okay, she's the bad one. She made this happen somehow.
Yeah.
But there was nothing like that. It was just more like, okay, this thing happened.
I felt bad for one character's death at the end of the film because I was like, oh shit, this isn't necessary. I guess that was the point of making you care about somebody and then having them die.
Yeah.
And literally, if you listen to the episode, you realize it's only 2 characters in the film that you probably give a shit about.
Yeah, you know who she died.
What?
No, I'm saying they know who died at this point if they're listening to this.
Yeah, so I mean, when Claire bites it, I was like, oh, that sucks, because they drag out a bite at the end. I was expecting them to show the old man's face, but it was actually Claire's, and I was like, this stinks. So I like their character, Yeah. I wanted them to make this a show or something. Like, I'd watch this show, but apparently, I guess they did the thing that a film would do to make you like a character and just kill them off, so the death is more important. And
I just wish that there was more like drama at the end or something.
Yeah,
something more like
it
impact.
feels like they didn't know what to do at the end, as in how to make it haunted, because they make Claire, against all good judgment, go back down to the
Yeah, and the others
Basement.
ditch her. The woman, Leanne Rhymes, she's like, okay, we need to get out of here. I'm gonna go get my stuff. You go get your stuff. And then she's like gone out of nowhere. Luke is like nowhere to be found. Like, and she goes back into the basement by herself. Like, just get out. Go sit in your car and wait
Yeah,
or
he
something.
tells her to wait downstairs. Wait at the couch. I would have been like, wait outside. Don't wait, on the couch.
Even wait at the couch then. Just don't go in the basement.
Or
What the
go-
hell is wrong with you? There's no lights. You have one flashlight that doesn't work. Like, what are you thinking? They
That
always do
reminded
this
me.
in
I didn't
movies.
get to make the note last time, but I realized how the bad acting in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the next generation.
You mean the amazing acting?
The part, what was funny about that movie is that how when you hit a oh god, we just said the word. You hit a flashlight.
Yeah.
The flashlights were on and they were still hitting it as if it was off
Right.
because they wanted to make it flicker. So stupid. Anyway, I like this movie and you should like it too. I think
What's your rating? What's your rating?
I would actually give it I was gonna give it an 8, but I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Old men with their slashed wrists, but their arms are behind their head, kind of like the guy from Deliverance at the end.
Like they're posing sexually.
Yeah, it was a weird pose, like he was voguing. And
Shit, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give this 7 out of 10. 40-year-old man drunkenly trying to get with a 17-year-old girl that looks like Jake Lloyd from Phantom Menace.
That's gonna be us in a couple of years.
And Jake from Dark Tower.
That's gonna be us in a couple of years. So anyway, we want to thank Horror Harbor. What's the website, Danny?
I'm not on it anymore. Well, just
Horror Harbor.
just go to Google and type in Horror Harbor with a U, Tumblr, and it's there. You'll see.
Yeah, I guess that's right. No, harbor. The way she spells it is like the water. You're like your horror in the harbor, as opposed to like harboring feelings towards somebody else.
You know what? Why don't you just stop analyzing it, you son of a bitch?
And you can also check out her. You can check out her other Tumblr, which is Lost in Coffee Rings and Fingerprints. But you
What's it?
The URL is lostincoffeerings.tumblr.com. So thank you again to horrorharbor.tumblr.com for
Thank you very
supporting
much.
us. I know is reblogging us. We thank you very much.
Send me a picture of yourself. I want to see.
Danny is an athletic, handsome black man with
I am.
8-pack muscles, all that stuff. Anyway,
12 pack.
Oh, I think you have 15-pack. It goes right down to your testicles. It was just.
It does. Like the inner thighs.
You might want to
have
get that
muscles in
checked
them.
out. Anyway, thanks for listening to the Horror Deconstruction. Our next film is the Canadian horror Pontypool.
Wow.
And Danny, what's the a final word?
Leanne Rhymes.
The Horror Deconstruction.